Hello, TechChill. My name is Igor, and I'll be your host for this stage till the end of the event. We live in an overproduced world. There are different models to put sustainability in this overproduced world. Please put your hands together and do it quickly. So we hear applause for Nina Shariati.
Welcome. All right, so Nina Shariati, the founder of Circle and Transparency. She'll talk on the topic of From Waste to Wealth, Unlocking the Power of Circular Models. Welcome, Nina. The stage is yours.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Yes? Okay, great. Thank you. There's the clicker. Okay, so there it is. So before I start, I just want to quickly check with you. How many of you have purchased a new garment the last week? Yeah? And how many of you have purchased a garment like the last month? And how many of you have purchased a garment like a second-hand garment? Okay, cool. Okay, that's a quick poll for me. So I'm here to talk about a couple of challenges within the fashion industry. I'm also supposed to give some solutions, give insights into why that's happening, and also help and give some suggestions on strategic movement forward. And I've given 20 minutes, so I think it's important that we start. Who am I and why should you listen to me? So my name is Nina Shariati, and I'm the founder of Circular Transparency, where we provide advisory and consultancy focusing on sustainability strategies, but we make sure that they're in line and incorporated with the business. And what we also do is that we scout and evaluate impactful startups, but also talents. And if you want to check out our webpage, you can scan the QR code. I've been working within this field for the past 20 years, and I've been working and living in countries like Bangladesh and China and Sweden, always on global positions and in some of the most well-known companies. Yeah, enough about that. So let's unveil fashion, shall we? And one thing that I want to also send with you is that I've chosen to focus on fashion, but majority or even all of the challenges and solutions can be applied across industries, in retail, in multiple different type of products. But if we are to focus on fashion, where is it going and how is it doing? There are a lot of writings about the challenges of fashion. Even though it might fluctuate, it's doing pretty well and it's growing in a constant pace. And it is also projected that by 2030, it will pass $1 trillion industry. So it's a big industry. And if we are also to include the textile industry in this, it will turn into somewhere around $3 trillion industry. So if you're an investor or if you're a startup that you're thinking about like, should I get into it? Yeah, it's a big industry and it will just continue growing. But what else do we know about this industry? We know that with the pace of the growth, the amount of greenhouse gas emissions are accelerating and growing, which means that industry is not doing really well in terms of decoupling its growth from its resource use and emission, and is currently projected to miss its target of halving its emission by according to its targets, somewhere around like by double the amount. So it's not doing really well in terms of decoupling itself. What else do we know? We know that it is currently standing somewhere between 4 and 10% of total greenhouse emissions globally, and it's somewhere around putting together Germany, France, and UK's total annual emission annually, just to give you an idea how big it is. And what else do we know about this pink haze? We know that 100 billion pieces of garments are being produced annually. 100 billion pieces of garments are produced annually. We know that 80 billion new garments are purchased annually. We know that that is an increase with 400% from 2000s, and 40% of it is excessive inventory. So 40% is actually, there's actually no demand for 40% of that, which leads into 92 million tons of waste globally, annually, and 1 in 5 garments purchased are never used. So that means you have at least a garment that you have bought, and you thought, I'm going to wear it someday, but you haven't used it yet. So what does this mean, and what kind of effects does it create? One obvious one is waste. This image in itself actually deserves a full day to dig into. I took this picture when I was visiting one of the big dump sites in Kenya, Nairobi, in Dandora. It's located in the middle of a slum, very central in Nairobi. And what you're seeing here is, you see Daniel, who's 10 years old, who lives somewhere similar to that hut on the dump site. Both of his parents are working at the dump site, and what they are doing is that they are recycling or scavenging for precious metals or polyester, or bottle and plastic for it to be recycled. So this is one of the impacts of the industry and how we consume today. So why is this happening, you might ask? The reason behind it is that the total economy is based on a linear model. And with linear, what we mean is that we take finite materials and we create products that last certain amount of washes or period of time. And once we don't longer want it, we tend to throw them away. And that's when it ends up in dump sites. So then, what could the solution be in that sense? And the solution towards a linear model, one of them are mentioned to be a circular one. And what does a circular economy mean? How many of you are familiar with circular economy? Great, that's a huge increase since just last year. I'm very happy about it. For the sake of it, I'm just going to show you a quick video that is put together by Ellen MacArthur Foundation that give you some more insights to it.
Living systems have been around for a few billion years and will be around for many more. In the living world, there's no landfill. Instead, materials flow. One species' waste is another's food, energy is provided by the sun, things grow, then die, and nutrients return to the soil safely. And it works. Yet as humans, we've adopted a linear approach. We take, we make, and we dispose. A new phone comes out, so we ditch the old one. Our washing machine packs up, so we buy another. Each time we do this, we're eating into a finite supply of resources and often producing toxic waste. It simply can't work long term. So what can? If we accept that the living world's cyclical model works, can we change our way of thinking so that we too operate a circular economy? Let's start with the biological cycle. How can our waste build capital rather than reduce it? By rethinking and redesigning products and components, and the packaging they come in, we can create safe and compostable materials that help grow more stuff. As they say in the movies, no resources have been lost in the making of this material. So what about the washing machines, mobile phones, fridges? We know they don't biodegrade. Here, we're talking about another sort of rethink, a way to cycle valuable metals, polymers, and alloys, so they maintain their quality and continue to be useful beyond the shelf life of individual products. What if the goods of today became the resources of tomorrow? It makes commercial sense. Instead of the throw away and replace culture we've become used to, we'd adopt a return and renew one, where products and components are designed to be disassembled and regenerated. One solution may be to rethink the way we view ownership. What if we never actually owned our technologies? We simply licensed them from the manufacturers. Now, let's put these two cycles together. Imagine if we could design products to come back to their makers, their technical materials being reused and their biological parts increasing agricultural value. And imagine that these products are made and transported using renewable energy. Here we have a model that builds prosperity long term. And the good news is, there are already companies out there who are beginning to adopt this way of working. But the circular economy isn't about one manufacturer changing one product. It's about all the interconnecting companies that form our infrastructure and economy coming together. It's about energy. It's about rethinking the operating system itself. We have a fantastic opportunity to open new perspectives and new horizons. Instead of remaining trapped in the frustrations of the present, with creativity and innovation, we really can rethink and redesign our future.
Okay, great. If you haven't checked out Ellen MacArthur Foundation's webpage, please do so. You will find much more insights into circular economy and way forwards. But just to quickly sum it up, circular economy is based on three main pillars. One is that the focus is on designing out waste and pollution, starting from the idea phase, meaning that at the stage where you start designing the product, you start thinking with end in mind, and you do that throughout the value chain. The second pillar is that the products that are then put out there, there should be different business models that support and prolongates the product lifetime. And that includes reselling models, rental models, repurposing models, and remending models. And there are many more out there. And at the last phase, the idea is that there should also be systems that are mimicking the environmental natural way of repurposing the products, meaning recycling them into new products. And here are a couple of examples of startups that are doing exactly that with focus on fashion industry. Unspun is a startup that is reducing waste by producing the products on demand. Vinted, how many of you know Vinted? Yeah, Vinted, right? That's a big success story, which is focusing on resell and creating resell opportunities on garments and giving garments new life. And Syre is a kind of pretty new startup, which is focusing on recycling old polyester garments into like new fibers so that they can turn into garments, new garments, which is actually a big deal within fashion industry. And one startup that I find being very interesting that I want to kind of highlight in this setting is WeCobuy. Have you heard of WeCobuy? No? Perfect. I mean, if you scan the QR code, you will land on their app page. So what they're doing is that they have found an opportunity where others see a challenge, and they're addressing the overstock or dead stock that I mentioned in the beginning of my presentation, and they are focusing on turning the dead stock into both revenue opportunity but also marketing opportunity, free marketing opportunity. And so how do they do that in that sense? Have you scanned? Yeah, great. So what you can do as a brand with, let's say you have excessive products of 100 garments of that jacket, what you can do is that you can upload your product on their social commerce platform, and you will set the discounted price, but you also set the quantity that you want to sell. And once that is in place, the customers can go in and place an order of buying that product that they like or choose, or as you do. And here's where it gets really interesting from a social and behavior perspective, is that for you to be able to buy the product at a discounted rate, the total order needs to be sold at once. So that means that for this garment to be released, the 100 other people need to also place an order. And what you then can do is you can share that product through your social media or to your friends and family. And when you do that, you get a commission and kickback when that order is pushed through. And what this creates is not only free marketing, but it creates a stickiness to the product. There are tests done on this, that once you get engaged in a product, your likelihood of taking care of that product and creating an emotional value connected to it increases, which is an important aspect when you want to look at emotional durability and sustainability of not throwing a garment away too quickly or too fast. So the result of this becomes a revenue stream of something that was just being a cost for the brands, but on top of that, they're also creating a free marketing value for the brands and the product in itself. So then the question stands, okay, if you're a brand or just an individual, what is the first thing you need to think about when you leave the room, and what are the strategic moves you should think about to incorporate sustainability or circularity in your business? And the first advice from me is that if you're looking for a sustainable product, the most environmentally sustainable product that is out there is the one that is not produced, right? So even if it's like the best sustainable product marketed out there, if it wouldn't have been produced from an environmental perspective, that would be better for the environment than producing new one. But the second most sustainable product is the one that you already own or it exists. So that's my recommendation if you take it with you as an individual or a customer. However, if you're more into what should you do from a strategic perspective, embedding strategies into your business, here are a couple of recommendations from me. The first one is that you need to start with keeping your vision and your brand strategy in mind, and aligning your sustainability strategies with your business strategies, and think about what type of legacy you want to leave behind. And the second one is to really start mapping out your negative impact, to identify your hotspots, where your most negative emissions are coming from, or where do you have the highest risk of social unacceptable behaviors. And once you have done that, it's really important, if you haven't already looked this up, but there are a lot of new legislations coming in line with the Green Deal within EU. I think it's somewhere around, depending on how you count it, 16 to 17 new legislations that are coming in with the purpose of harmonizing European Union to be acting and behaving in a more sustainable way. So the third one is to really be aware of those legislations and map yourself towards them and find interlinkage between them. And the fourth one is obviously based on that, to identify your opportunities and to formulate that as clearly as you can. And the last bit is that once you have that, there's a bunch of really exciting startups that are focusing in this area, to reach out and to start collaborating with them, because the likelihood of the startups that are out there that already have solutions for some of your challenges are very big, and supporting them creates a huge impact for the environment and society. And lastly, if you have done all of this and you still feel that you still need help, then my advice is to reach out to us, and we will do what we can to support you in your journey. And yeah, that's it for me. And if you have any questions, just drop me an email or look me up on LinkedIn. Thank you.